I'm Cynthia James, and this network is about changing lives one woman at a time. Hello and welcome to Women Awakening. I'm your host, Cynthia James. I get the honor of introducing you to fabulous women. Women that inspire me, women that make a difference in this world, women that have taken control of their own lives and decided to shine. What I want you to know is there's no exceptions here. They're just models. They get to show you what's possible because you have a genius that lives within you that wants to thrive. This is the time for women awakening on this planet. So I want you to know I do these every week. We're on Spotify and Spreaker and iHeart and YouTube and Amazon. Subscribe, come back every week, meet a fantastic lady, and take a deeper dive into you. So today I have a special guest that was actually introduced to me. So we haven't really hung out like some of the other people that I talked to, but I'm very excited about her because what she talks about is shame, how to overcome it, how to transcend it, and how to use it to make a difference in your life by changing your perspective. She is the host of Unchained Empath, and that is a podcast. And what's really cool is that she takes a question from the audience every single week, and they take a deep dive. So, Tiffany, why do I call you Tiffany? That's not your name.
Everybody has done that my whole life. Can I just throw that out there? Yes.
Wow.
I should be a Tiffany. That's all. It's
so weird. That's your name, and then Tiffany comes out of my mouth. So, okay. So this is what I want to say. As you guys are editing, don't take this out because this is important for some reason, and I have no idea why. Okay, here we are. Brittany.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I want to know how you grew up.
Oh, man. So this definitely ties into my story. So first of all, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. I love to share my story. I love to give people hope, to let them know that, you know what, you can go through the worst thing in your life and come out on the other side and help other people, because other people go through terrible things too. And all these experiences just help you move forward. So my life growing up, I feel like I had a very rough childhood. Rough childhood being my parents just fought consistently. There was no stable environment. When I was about 16, I was manipulated by an older guy. He was about 19 at the time, and he was in the military. And I never shared that story. I hid that my entire life until I was 35 years old. And finally, at 35 years old, I've been, I don't know, I wouldn't say miserable my whole life, but I've always had something bothering me. Well, I said something just like aggravate me sitting there. And I'm like, I have everything. I have a beautiful house. I have 4 kids. I have an amazing husband. My life is going well. What is wrong? Why am I not happy? And I started really trying to deep dive on that and figure it out. And it finally came to a head one day, and I just started bawling. I'm like, I've never told this story to anyone. I've never told anyone how I feel, how manipulated, how dumb I felt, how naive I felt. And no one's ever been able to tell me, Brittany, you just didn't know.
Yeah. And it wasn't your fault.
And yes.
But because I was abused as a kid, and people don't know how to have those conversations.
No.
They don't know how to open the space so you feel safe enough to share. They don't know how to say, I get why this is a problem for you, and how shame could come in. But I want to say, to just kind of give you a little bit of an applause here, that you could go through that you could manifest a love, create 4 powerfully beautiful children, and become a change maker. That is extraordinary.
I'm going to take that. Because I typically don't take compliments. It's very hard for me to hear somebody say something positive about me, but I'm going to take it because let me tell you, I put in the work. Every day I put in the work. I make sure that there's no one left behind in my family, period.
Yes. Well, I'm proud of you. And it's so cool. So, all right. So what I want to know is, what was the moment? Because it was like 20 years almost between the time of this happening and you having an awakening. What was the awakening moment?
I got really sick. I got really sick. My body quit on me. I was in this beautiful house in my second story, sitting up here looking out my windows. My kids are playing in the backyard and I can't even go outside. I'm having panic attacks. I can hardly breathe. I can't eat anything. My body's shutting down. I'm going to the hospital and being admitted for 6 days just to cure my pain, but no one can tell me what's happening with my body. It was insane. And it finally got to the point of I was crying and I'm praying and I'm begging, please, God, tell me what is going on. I will do anything. Like, I can't live like this. I'm a prisoner in this beautiful life and I'm tired of it. And all of a sudden, it's like memories just started flooding. I started feeling really, really sad about my childhood. And I was like, why am I thinking about this? I don't want to think about this. But I started going on the path. Why do I feel sad about that? What happened then? And as this stuff started unraveling, I started going, maybe I should talk to somebody about this. So I started talking to a therapist. And then I started reading. And I started realizing that, I have intrusive thoughts. Nobody told me that when you drive over a bridge, you're not supposed to go, what if this bridge collapses? What if we drive off of here? What do I roll down my windows first? Do we wait till we're in the water? Do I get out? Which kid? Who can swim? That's all going through my head everywhere I go. That's intrusive thoughts. That's not normal. And when I started putting all that together, it was like, oh my goodness, other people are like this. And I can't believe that I've never been able to share my story. So I shared my story. I randomly recorded 2 recordings of just me exposing my soul. And after that happened, people sent me messages like you would not believe. They shared things that they said they've never told people their entire lives. They've kept it secret only because of the shame. And at that point, it was like, I got to help people. So now I take questions of, shame questions, really. Like, I'm dealing with alcoholism. How can we help our friends? How can we help our friend that just went through a miscarriage? What do we do? What are they experiencing? What are they going through? We don't know. We've never experienced that. So I take all these questions now, and I'm that mom friend you need. That mom friend that's like, I want to ask you all the questions. You don't really know, but you'll find out. And I'm going to find out. So I'm getting all the experts, like amazing, incredible people like you, to come on to share your experiences, your perspectives, your voice, your truth, and show us how you got through it. Because those nuggets right there, those beautiful little intrinsic things of wisdom that you bring, they will change lives. It changed my life to share my story. It changed my family's life. It's breaking generational curses that you wouldn't believe. And I finally went to my mom. I got put on the spot to go to my mom and talk to my mom and be like, Mom, why did you not be there for me? Why did you not talk to me? You know what my mom told me? The most beautiful thing I've ever heard. She said, Brittany, I just thought you were so strong. I thought you could handle it all. And I love her so much now because I understand it. I didn't understand as a little kid why she wasn't talking to me and helping me and doing everything that she was doing for everybody else. But in her eyes, I was this magnificent, beautiful creature that could handle the world. And she didn't think I needed it.
Right. Well, what's so interesting is like there was a projection onto you of what she wasn't, which is fascinating, and how incredible that you could take that in. But there's a whole bunch of here I want to unpack. First of all, let me just say here first, when you are in those kinds of situations, I'm so grateful that you shared that your body broke down, because when you are having those intrusive thoughts and those experiences that you cannot explain, you start trying to manage energy and you start pushing it down. And some people do it with drugs and all kinds of other stuff. But eventually the body goes, I'm sorry, I was not meant to hold all this.
Yeah.
And so what I love is that you went to get help. Now, how did you find the right therapist for you?
I tell you, I went to a lot of wrong ones.
Oh,
I can tell you that much. Okay. I went to ones that when I spoke to them, their first statement was, well, why would you make that choice? And that's when it was like, okay, this may not be the right one for me. You have to really feel with your gut. Go through, don't pick the first person. Read through their bios, read through what they've experienced. If you find a therapist that is willing to talk about their story and why they want to be a therapist, and they're willing to share their trauma, that is a good therapist because they're there for the right reasons. My therapist personally, when I talk to her, she gives me not only actionable things to go forward. If I'm struggling this week with my anger, it's Brittany, okay, this week, here's what you're going to do. When you get angry, I want you to think about this. I want you to stop and do this. I want you to make this move. It's not a, hey, I'm worried about anger. Well, let's figure out why you're angry. Let's go back and think about all the times you could have been angry. No, I need an actionable plan. I need
Right.
something to help me right now. We can figure all this out too, but I need help now.
That's
And
exactly.
it's beautiful. I love that. So you might have to go through a few, but you'll know when you reach the one that hears you, and you feel when you get off the phone call, you just want to cry because you can't believe someone listened to you. That's the one.
Yes. Well, and here's the thing, as a coach and also as a speaker, I want the people that are with me to know I'm not the expert here. We're going to travel this journey together because any therapist worth their weight in gold has been through stuff and understands that they learn as much from the client as they give. So I love that you said that. Ladies, find someone that resonates with you, that's going to support you, that is not going to place the blame on you for whatever happened in your life.
Yeah.
Okay, second thing I want to know then is how was it the therapist who helped you identify the shame, or did it come forward within you?
The shame came forward within me. The shame, as soon as because I hadn't thought about it for so long, as soon as that thought entered my mind of the way that I felt at that time when I was 16, it was like, I immediately, like, I remember when I thought about it, I put my head down, my stomach got upset, and I was like, whoa. And I recognized that feeling. And I was like, that almost feels like I'm having like a panic attack. I was like, why would I do that when I'm just thinking about like the past? That's weird. And so then I started connecting things together. And that's when I was like, hold on, your body breaks down. If your body breaks down, your brain, its whole goal is to protect you. So if your brain all of a sudden goes, this traumatic thought that's about to come to you is really going to mess you up. Here, let me throw you a stomach ache. Let's throw you off here. Let's make you worried about something else because we can't deal with this. When I realized that could happen, that opened my mind up. I tell you, I went to so many doctors. I got told that going off of mental health medicine was why my stomach hurt, that it's just in my head. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia and told that that just must be what it is because of, there can't be that many things going wrong with one person. I will tell you that this is my own personal experience. I don't say that this is for everyone, but from my own personal experience, I have lost 40 pounds, not because I'm not eating, not because I quit, I started a new diet, nothing, but because I'm truly healing my inside. I do not have the fibromyalgia symptoms. I don't have massive stomach aches or, anything. One thing I do still consistently have, I wake up with anxiety every morning. That's rough. I'm trying to figure that out, but it's forward progress. I don't have all these ailments.
Well, okay. You just said something profound here. Healing from the inside out.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can look for all kinds of fixes out here, but to do the work to heal yourself, to honor yourself, to love yourself. Now that's the deal. And so of course the 40 pounds would come off because there's no more need for armor, which is just awesome. And in terms of the waking up with the anxiety, I'm glad you're still seeking because here's the thing. One of the things that scientists have shown me is that we get to, in the moment that we start to wake up, there's a gap. There's a frequency gap, an energetic gap between sleep and awake. And you can start to feed into that thing, what you want to create, what intention you want to set. So it's a really powerful thing. I mean, I wasn't having anxiety like you, but I was waking up with my mind racing 100,000 miles an hour and trying to manage it. And so that helped a little bit. So I stand with you in whatever you need to do to release that last little bit, because it doesn't belong to you, and it's just great.
Yes, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. And I feel it's very important that I tell that though. I don't want everybody to look at me and say, oh, she fixed her life. She's 40 pounds lighter. She's this and that. No, guys, I still struggle. Every day I still have a thought of, oh, you're not doing enough for your kids. Oh, you're not doing enough for your husband. Like I have those thoughts, but those thoughts are now, you know what? I hear you, but I am.
Right.
I did this and this today, and I am. That's a lie. I'm not listening to that anymore.
Right. Well, and here's the thing, and I really want to talk about the courage to be vulnerable, because what you started with was you put it out there, and all of a sudden people started coming back going, oh my gosh, I've never said this. You're right. So all of a sudden your vulnerability opened some portal to give other people permission to start doing their own healing process. And since, I love what you just said, because there is no arrival. You don't just arrive and go, okay, now I'm enlightened, everything's good.
Yeah. No.
Right. So I want to know, what, aside from having the courage within you to share that, what called you to start a podcast?
So my whole life, I've always wanted to help people, and my husband describes it best as, if I am anywhere, if anybody has any problem, they're going to come tell me, no matter if they know me or not. They just are drawn to me, and I'm drawn to them. I'm drawn to people that are hurting. I really am. I just feel it. And I just want to hug you, like when I feel it, because I'm just like, oh, I understand. So starting a podcast it was just a random thought. Somebody one day was like, hey, you should really throw out a podcast, because you love to talk, you love to, be with people, but it was hard to get, I guess, right with people, right? Like have people come over and talk and do things. And so it was kind of birthed just out of desperation of wanting to get my story out there, but not wanting to put a face with it, right? I just wanted to say it. I just wanted it off my chest, get it out of here. And then once that happened, it was like, okay, I guess we got to continue, because I was just going to throw out, 2 episodes and be done. This helped me. Thanks a lot, guys. Peace out. And I quit. And when I started getting so many messages of, please don't stop. You cannot stop. You have to tell more. I was dumbfounded.
So here's the question now. And ladies, I hope you're listening, because this is an important question. You'd never done a podcast before.
No.
You didn't know how to do a podcast. What steps did you take to start that journey?
So it's wild, because me and my husband sat down, and I was like, listen, you got to help me out. I don't know what's going on. So we started thinking of a name, and we went to a restaurant that I never go to. I hate this restaurant, so I won't even say what it is, but we went there, and this lady brought me a drink. And when she came back by, for some reason, I just spit it out, and I was like, hey, I really hate this drink. Can I get a different drink? And as soon as I said it, my eyes got big, because I was like, that's not how I normally talk. I'd be like, hey, excuse me, may you please, I would be nicer. And I was shocked. And this girl looks at me, and she looks stunned. And I was like, oh no, Brittany, you did it. And she was like, I wish that there were more women like you that would speak up and say what's really on their minds. And I was like, that's really weird that you say that, because we're sitting here trying to figure out a name for my podcast that I want to do to spill my guts, basically. I was like, that's strange. So we left there and we came home, and there's a girl running around the block here. And I was like, man, I really need to start walking. Maybe that should be my thing. So I told my husband, you want to go on a walk? He said, absolutely not. Cool. So I go on a walk. I pass this lady, and I'm like, someone says, talk to her. I'm like, no, talk to her. Okay. I turn around. Hey, how you doing? I'm Brittany. You new to the neighborhood? Great. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm trying to think of starting a podcast. No way, Brittany. I actually run a podcast. I can totally help you. I was like, what's happening? What is this? And so she gave me the name of the website you go on to do it. And she said, just get a microphone, set it up, and just spit it out there and see what happens. And I was like, this sounds like a bad idea, but I'm going to try it. And she kept bothering me. Once I let it out of my mouth that I wanted to do it, every time I saw her at the pool, hey, you doing that podcast? When are you going to do it? I've been waiting to hear it. What's happening? And I was like, man, I shouldn't have done that. And then I had to do it because someone put me on the spot.
But what I in both cases is you listened, even though you didn't know what was talking to you when you said, I hate this drink.
Yeah.
Right? Or start talking to this woman, you have to follow this instinct to go walk and then talk to this woman. And then she happens to be someone who knows how to do podcasts. I mean, so the empath is the part that listens to the guidance. Is that what that is?
Most certainly. So I had no idea what an empath was until recently when, of course, TikTok, blows everything up now. So I saw a lot of stuff saying empath, empath. And I was like, well, that sounds a lot like me. And when I really delved into it, I was like, okay, that is exactly who I am, because I can feel energy. I can feel when someone's frustrated. I'm that an aggravating friend to where I'm like, hey, what's going on? Are you upset today? And you're like, no. And I'm like, okay. And a few minutes later, I'm like, are you sure you're not upset today? Because I don't know, you did this and you did this and you walked this way and you don't normally walk that way. And I just noticed it. And then there's always something wrong. So it just became kind of a thing. I just felt everybody.
Well, and we all have those gifts within us, but I love that you listened and that you're exemplifying that for others, that we can all listen to that part of us. And some people, it's stronger because that's part of their work in the world. So what do you think your mission is?
My mission is now to get out information, because I'm so hooked on this phrase of you don't know what you don't know. But when you find out, it's your responsibility to change. And I didn't know so many things in my life, and I want to know them all now. And I feel like a lot of what's happening today is we just are not seeing other people's perspective. We just don't understand other people, and we're not giving them the air to let them explain themselves. So many times in my life, people would say, oh, Brittany, you should do this for your child. You should wear these kind of diapers. You should make sure that they go here. And all of that, when I heard it, was, oh, you're a bad mom. But that was my issue. They were not saying I was a bad mom. They're just saying, hey, this might help you if you do this. But because of what my perspective on when people give me advice, I take it harshly. I started to dislike these people. Now, since I've disliked these people, now I've knocked myself out of a friend group, all because of my perspective on something that's not even true.
Wow, that is so powerful, because projection is an extraordinary thing.
Yes, I didn't realize that.
Right. Well, I love what you're doing. I love your mission. And I want, how do people find you? How do they find your podcast?
Of course. So please come be part of our village. We want a village where you feel welcome, safe. You can come and post anonymously what you're struggling with, and we will sit there with you and feel it. We're not going to judge you. We're not going to tell you what you should do. We're not going to give you advice unless you ask for it specifically. We're just here for you. Please, okay, you can go to www.unchainedempath.com. You can also look us up on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, wherever you can find us. We are on every podcast hosting platform. So if you go there, look up Unchained Empath. We have some really cool episodes coming out shortly. A lot of stuff for special needs kids, because I have a special needs kid myself. Different things about parenting, different things you just wouldn't find. A lot of resources, anxiety, depression, trauma, sex, marriage, relationships, anything you can think of. We're going to get it out there. We're going to give you information that you need. Let me be that mom friend for you. Let me give you the real answers that we find, not just some advice that I think I know.
Gorgeous. Okay, ladies, you heard it here. I hope you will go and share and get the support. So, Brittany, I ask the same last question of every guest. The name of this show is Women Awakening. What do you think is the one thing, the most important thing about women waking up at this moment?
Oh my goodness, the most important thing, you have to, without a shadow of a doubt, gain perspective. Ask questions. If you feel offended by something, ask them, did you mean it this way? Is that really what you meant? Did you really mean that I was a bad mom? Because if you gain that perspective, you will grow trust and you will grow your tribe. You will have a village around you that will be unstoppable. But you have to be vulnerable. You have to let people know when you're hurting, and you have to let people know that it's not okay and what to do to be in your life. It is so important to gain perspective.
Brittany, thank you. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for your heart. Thank you for your willingness to be present and to be in high service. I'm honored to know you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So, ladies, I say the same thing every week in a different form. Do you have any idea how incredible you are? How magnificent you are? How you are on this planet at this moment because you're necessary and essential, and that your awakening is a transformative, energetic? Step out. You just heard a beautiful woman tell you how she's been navigating in this life and has become a servant leader. You can do the same. Thank you so much for letting me serve you, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Many blessings.